Hello there, you're watching our television. This is State of Business. I am Pumutha Katukampala. Our top stories. Nation hosts international boxing tournament. Work costs 90% of women's expected earnings. Welcome back. Now let's have a detailed look at today's stories. Now the outlook for global labour markets has worsened in recent months. Job vacancies will decline and global employment growth will deteriorate significantly in the final quarter of 2022. The international organization latest monitor on the world of work finds that worsening labour market conditions are affecting both employment creation and the quality of jobs. While the impact of COVID-19 has waned in most countries, multiple and overlapping economic and political crises are threatening labour market recovery around the world. The encouraging recovery in hours worked seen at the beginning of 2022 has not continued, although there continue to be significant differences between regions and income groups. In the first half of 2022, employment to population ratios had returned to or exceeded the pre-crisis level in the majority of advanced economies. Concentrated in developing countries, informal job growth in 2022 fully reversed the losses experienced in 2020, whereas formal employment did not. The outlook for the labour market is highly uncertain, with growing downside risks, including the impacts of high inflation, tightening monetary policy, increasing debt burdens and declining consumer confidence. The impact of the war on countries neighbouring Ukraine and the Russian could put at risk political and labour market stability, particularly if the conflict becomes more entrenched. The multiplication of crises raises the risk of another significant global labour market downturn. This would require comprehensive, integrated and balanced policies which address not only inflation in isolation but also its broader implications for employment, enterprises and poverty. Meanwhile, Minister of Industries Dr. Ramesh Patharana says that women make an active contribution to Sri Lanka's economy and play an important role both socially and politically. The Minister expressed this while participating in a national training program on e-commerce and digital marketing for women entrepreneurs. The training program was organized by the United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and the Pacific yesterday. It is supported by many institutions such as the Ministry of Industry, Industrial Development Board, Export Development Board, National Crafts Council, Ministry of Women, Child Affairs and Social Empowerment and University of Colombo. Empowering women entrepreneurs on e-commerce and digital marketing is the primary objective of this training program. It is a 3-day training program that trains 85 selected micro, small and medium-scale women entrepreneurs representing various fields. Speaking further, Minister Patharana held that representation of women in Sri Lanka's workforce is significant, particularly in the fields of education, medicine and law. The minister then highlighted that women entrepreneur community is also very strong and are making a huge contribution to the economy. However, during the pandemic, economic activity shifted onto digital platforms. Businesses at different levels in Sri Lanka had to adapt to e-commerce, and this trend is expected to grow. Minister Patharana expressed his appreciation for the organisers of the training program, as these kinds of programs empower women entrepreneurs. The perceived overall cost of working for an urban woman in Sri Lanka is estimated to be 22,672 rupees per month, while the expected median earnings are at 25,500 rupees. This is revealed by the award-winning research paper Cost of Doing a Job for Urban Women in Sri Lanka by independent economic think tank Verite Research. Women who were either currently employed or had previously been employed place both intrinsic and instrumental value on being employed. Previously employed women put a higher emphasis on agency and empowerment. Overall, participants valued employment for financial independence and the opportunity to be networked, as well as for the opportunity to apply their knowledge and learn further. Focus group discussions revealed that having dependent children was a greater consideration in decision regarding labour force participation as opposed to having dependent adults. Support from family members was identified as a key factor affecting the cost for a woman to engage in the labour force. The importance of family support manifested in two distinct ways. The first is spousal influence and the second is child care support. The average perceived cost of being employed takes up almost 90% of an urban woman's average expected earnings. A major finding was that spouses played a key role, as husbands maintained an outdated notion that their wives' priority must be managing the household and children. Marriage is identified as the primary reason for leaving a job, while having children was the second most significant reason. See you soon with more stories after this short commercial break. Welcome back. You're watching State of Business. Now, the government has announced increases in company registration fees, including renewal fees, after 6 years with effect from the 5th of October this year. The registration fee for a private limited company, public limited company, unlimited company, and a company limited by guarantee has been increased to 4,600, 23,000, 17,250 and 35,500 rupees respectively. Registration fees of mortgages, charges and debentures have been increased to 8,625 rupees, while the registration fee of annual return has increased to 6,900 rupees. The registration fee of an offshore company has been increased to 172,500 rupees. However, the amount to be credited to a bank to defray the expenses of an offshore company for the purpose of its office in Sri Lanka has been maintained at $100,000. In addition, the fee for registration of a place of business in Sri Lanka by a foreign company has also been increased to 69,000 rupees. In terms of registration renewal fees, offshore companies are required to pay 172,500 rupees to continue operations. Local companies, other than those registered under the Gamiduriya Company scheme, are required to pay 11,500 rupees as re-registration fees. Furthermore, the registration fees of company secretaries, auditors, document inspection charges along with all other charges have also been increased. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Sports announced that they will organise an international boxing tournament in Sri Lanka with the assistance of the Ministry of Tourism. Briefing media in Colombo, Minister of Sports Roshan Ranasinghe said that Sri Lanka is late to host these kinds of international events due to poor decisions by policymakers and administration. Sports Minister Roshan Ranasinghe told media personnel that one of the most popular professional boxing tournaments in the world will be held in Sri Lanka for the first time. This tournament is the Middle East Crown 5 professional boxing tournament and is targeted at strengthening country's economy. Accordingly, 5 stages of the Middle East Crown Boxing Series will be hosted in Sri Lanka on the 26th of November at the Sugatadasa Indoor Stadium. 18 international boxers and 2 world champion female boxers from 14 countries are set to participate in this tournament. Countries such as the US, India, Japan, Indonesia, Thailand, Ukraine, Tajikistan, Pakistan, the Philippines and Ghana will be represented at the tournament.
We know UAE, Singapore, they are encouraging and doing these kind of mini events, not only in sports, tourism, economic and other things since 1970, 80. If we were start those things in those days, we are far beyond from them. Unfortunately, because of negative impact and some wrong decision, it never happened. Now I think right time to start to work with international community, and we need more because we have all the facilities and climate, environment, everything so suitable to hold any event in this country. As a sport minister, we do our level best to develop sports economy, and especially tourism ministry, minister and the entire team, they are supporting and we are working together to develop sports economy mainly.
Now, Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara recently highlighted the difficulties Sri Lanka faces in securing petroleum and the measures taken to liberalise the energy market. Minister Wijesekara discussed this matter while engaged in dialogue at the Abu Dhabi International Petroleum Exhibition and Conference 2022.
We've run out of forex for import of energy products. Sri Lanka depends almost 90% on energy imports. We are not a country that produces energy. So we've had to depend a lot on imports, and due to those reasons, the financial constraints, we've had to go to 6-hour power cuts. We've had energy security issues, food security issues that we've faced with. But it has also opened up an opportunity for us. Sri Lankan energy market has always been a monopoly, a state-owned monopoly. We've made the reform work, we've done the planning, we've done the legal framework to open up the market for private suppliers to come in, to go into public-private partnerships. Those were things that were discussed for decades in Sri Lanka but never was legalized. So now the power sector, the energy sector, we've opened up the doors for private partners to come in, the private sector stakeholders to maybe invest in Sri Lanka. So those are some of the things that we've had an opportunity in this crisis as well.
Stay tuned for stock updates. Welcome back, you're watching State of Business, and now the stock updates. Trading at Colombo Stock Exchange ended on negative notes today. The All Share Price Index dropped 43.89 points to close at 8,561.96, and the S&P SL 20 dropped 8.87 points to close at 2,601.73. The turnover was 1.1 billion rupees and over 36 million shares were traded. Coming up next are Forex rates. Well, that's a wrap from today's edition of State of Business. For this and more, subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.